We're down here in Surprise, Arizona, Royals spring training, and we sit here with Vinnie Pasquantino. And I know it's going to be a busy couple weeks for you, Vinnie. You've got the World Baseball Classic coming up. And we talked to Bobby earlier. He had kind of hinted to, this is, as prepared as you can be going into spring training. The offseason starts a little bit earlier. Then you guys are going to head out and play in such a competitive tournament. Is that the way you feel as well, that you're more prepared going in than maybe a typical spring training?
Maybe, but I've never been a big April hitter, so I'm not going to pretend like I'm not trying new things to figure that out. I feel pretty prepared, but we'll know when we know. So everything feels good, but you won't know until we get there.
What are you most looking forward to in the World Baseball Classic? I know there are so many loaded teams out there. You're going to get the opportunity to play against some of these guys, the best in the world. And if you're in this tournament, you can consider yourself to be the best in the
hmm
world, of course. So, what are you most looking forward to out of the World Baseball Classic?
Just playing, competing. That's what we do. So having another opportunity to compete in games that matter, that's about as big of an opportunity as you can get. So for me, obviously, we're a little bit of underdogs in this tournament. That's exciting. So all the pressure. I know everybody will be talking about the USA game, Mexico game, but all four of the games that we have are massive, and pressure's on the other teams, not on us. So we have an opportunity to put some pressure on them and see what happens, and that's super exciting.
Have you and Jack had a chance yet to talk about being the underdog, going up against some of these teams, and almost trying to have this Cinderella story?
Yeah, a little bit, but a lot of our focus here at camp has been on camp. So as much as we've talked about it, we haven't gotten into those conversations just yet because we're focused on Kansas City right now. So it's like that weird mix where you get to camp and you're focused on camp, then you leave, we go to a different camp and we focus on Team Italy there for a little bit, and then we come back. So those conversations I'm sure will start to pick up, but I think right now we're focused on on what we were just doing, in the cage, and then you get to tomorrow, first game Friday, and then kind of attack from there.
You guys always seem to have this confidence about you in camp. Going back to 2024, not everybody believed in you just yet, and then you show in that postseason run that you are a playoff team. Last year, you had that same expectation. If there's a difference this year, what would it be? Because I know you guys feel like you fell short last year, not getting to October. What is this confidence like now going into 2026?
Yeah, I do think we have a lot of confidence, but I also think we know that there is a chip on the shoulder from what happened last year. We felt like we were better than an 82 and 80 team, and but at the end of the day, you are what your record says you are. So we're on one end, you're happy that you finished above 500, but at the end of the day, if you finish above 500 and don't make the playoffs, it literally doesn't matter. So I think you can take a positive from it, but I think you mostly take negatives from it of just saying, we came short of expectations. We didn't meet the standard that we set for ourselves, and now you got to get back up, dust yourself off, and go back at it for 2026.
I'm sure this will be an easy answer for you, but in 2024, you had your September cut short by a
hmm
freak injury in Houston. And last year, you finally get to play throughout that entire season. You have a tremendous year at the plate, a career year for you. How satisfying was it just to get there to the finish line? I know it wasn't the team goal, but for you offensively, you were one of the best hitting first basemen in all of baseball.
Yeah, it was super important. I want to be out there every day. Like, I still look at it as I fell short of 2 games, but it that that we're semantics at that point. But you just want to be available for the guys every single day. So I have a responsibility to this organization to be out there every single day until they tell me not to be, and I'm gonna even when they tell me not to be, I'm gonna fight them to be out there. So for me, I'm hoping there's a flying around me right now if I seem distracted, but sorry, lost my train of thought. But for me, the injuries are in the past. Obviously, you can't control what happens in the future, but we're working to not have that happen again. And last year was a step in the right direction, playing 160 games. And this year we'll try not to pull the hamstring a little bit on the last day of camp and walk in with no question marks. So, yeah, it's one of the most important things for me is the ability to be out there. So that's what I strive for every year.
There's a couple of new coaches, in camp here. You've got Marcus Timms, you've got Connor Dawson, of course, Alex Zumwalt is still back here. What's that like for you as a player when you have three different coaches? I know it's early, so it's probably not the best time to ask you this question, but is there a difference that you can tell? You've got three different voices, maybe trying to help you guys how to get better offensively.
Yeah, well, I think you never want to have new coaches because I think that speaks to the failures of as or from us as players last year of, if we hit better, we don't have new coaches this year, or
Mhm.
we do because they moved on to get,
Yeah.
head jobs somewhere else, and that's not what happened. So we look at it as that's our responsibility that two new coaches were brought in, and your conversations have been great. Um, at the same time that you want to allow guys to be themselves, it's nice to get a different eye that hasn't been around for a few years. So guys that are seeing hitters for the first time, having conversations with me, different guys. I think it'll be huge having these guys in the building because it's different voices than we've heard the last few years.
When you're going well, what do you notice from yourself at the plate? Some guys say when I'm hitting a line drive the other way, right over the shortstop from the left-handed batter's box. Some guys say it's when I've tapped into the power, I can hit tall fields, and some guys say it's just when I'm working the count, when I'm seeing a lot of pitches. For you individually, when do you know that you're at your best at the plate?
I think a lot of it is timing based, so it's hard for anybody other than me to really notice. But it's when I'm stopping at good pitches, strike the ball pitches that I'm able to lay off. I'm making the right decisions, and I'm using the whole field. I don't think there's one thing that when I'm rolling I'm doing. Um, if there was, I would hope I'd figure that out by now and just do that all the time. But I think it's a mix of things, and a lot of it goes back to my timing, my tempo, how I'm attacking the pitcher. Um, but I don't really view it as like, oh, I'm using the whole, or I'm hitting the ball to the left side of the field. I think sometimes when I'm that week that I had where I hit 6 homers, I
Yeah.
pulled everything. So, um, but it's also nice to use the whole field because your swing is working in different ways. So I think for me, there's a lot of inconsistency in a good way when I'm going well. Of sometimes I'm going well by using the other side of the field. Sometimes I'm going well when I'm hitting the ball pull side. Sometimes I'm going well when I'm more aggressive. When I'm less aggressive, I think it's I think it's just that back and forth of playing the game. Of there isn't one thing that makes me as a hitter successful. So I'm not going to lean into, hey, I'm going to get on the plate and I'm going to try to launch. Sometimes I might need to do that depending on where I'm at with my swing, but sometimes I might need to back off and try to take some singles the other way to get the swing where I want it. So I think that it's a revolving door of different things that could happen.
I know the other day Matt Quatrero was talking about a variety of guys that could hit leadoff, right? And he did mention your name. And in the new age of baseball, that's not crazy to think about anymore. A guy that can get on base, see a lot of pitches, be aggressive. That is you. And I know most guys are going to say, "Put me anywhere in the lineup. I'm fine with it. I'm going to be comfortable. I'm going to hit." Where's your favorite spot to hit? Or would you be open to if Q told you, "Let's have you lead off in this game"?
My favorite spot to hit is third. It has been my entire life. But yeah, I mean, you're correct in the fact that wherever he puts me, I think I hit as low as 7 last year against some lefties, which like it's a shot at the ego a little bit, which
Yeah.
sucked those days that it happened, but I earned that. Like it wasn't like he was doing it to punish me. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't hitting well against lefties, so he's got to make a decision that's best for the team, not what's best for for like my attitude, and I have to be okay with that, and
Yeah.
that's what this is all about. So I think my profile more as a rookie in 2022 would lend itself to being a leadoff hitter when
Mm.
when I had like a 380 something OBP. I'm trying to get back to that. I swear I am. I wish I'd walk more, but I'm not going up to the plate thinking about walking. I think it's more about the process. And I know I know some fans have been frustrated with my on base percentage the last few years, steadily going the wrong direction. But the power's jumped up, and there has been some good things there. But I think hitting leadoff would be interesting. I think it'd be a new dynamic for me, especially I'm not a speed guy, but that doesn't I mean, what does that really mean, right? I mean, if I had the preference, it would be some sort of Bobby or Michael in front of me because then I can drive in those guys when they get on base. But I think it's interesting to play around with different lineups. Q and I have not talked about that, other than I saw that and I I brought it to him and said, "Hey, I'm in. Whatever you need from me." But yeah, there was a time in 2023 where Bobby hit leadoff and I hit second. I think that was like 50% of our games that we played that year. So we've done things like that before. When I got called up, I was mostly hitting fourth. I was hitting behind Sal. Then we flipped that in 23. But then it would go Bob, me, and then Sal. And then last year, we settled into some different things, but it was traditionally fill in the blank: Bob, me, Michael, Sal. And I just think personally the consistency is important. So, and it's something that we talk about a lot. That I'm not a massive fan of lineups changing, but I'm also not the manager. And that's for anybody to. I like knowing who I'm hitting around because you get to know who swings early, who takes a lot of pitches, who's more aggressive on the base paths, different things like that. So you can kind of build that chemistry. And I know the new age of baseball says that chemistry doesn't matter, but as a player in the game, I do think it matters. But it's not going to affect how I feel about the lineup, right? The job is to go play, and I think that's great. And I think people having different opinions about it is awesome. But I'm open to whatever. So that was a long-winded answer. I hope it answered your question.
No, it absolutely did. And back to your point about walks, if you hit 30 plus home runs and driving over 100, to hell with worrying about walking, man. You're doing your job from where you're hitting in the order. Last couple for you, Vinny. Really appreciate your time. No, last year, you guys can tell when there's pressure on the offense when you guys are struggling. It's the current landscape of baseball. There's more social media online. You hear what people say when things aren't going well. And for you being one of the top offensive contributors, when you guys are struggling, what is that pressure like to deal with? And then finally breaking through the slump when maybe it's been a rough road trip, it's been a rough week, but then you come back and everything starts to come together. Do you really acknowledge that pressure? Is it hard to ignore it, or where do you stand with that?
Yeah, I think there's naturally pressure in the major leagues just because of every game means so much. But I can speak from that personally. I mean, my April was about as bad as it gets, and I was able to climb out of that hole and end up with a pretty productive year. But you look at it on the whole, and it's like, man, if I could have just done something in April, what could that have meant
Yeah.
more for the team? How many more wins could that have been? Um, so yeah, I just don't think you should run from the pressure. I don't think you should pretend like it's not a thing. It is a thing. The results matter. Like it, and I think, and I know that this is a different opinion than some guys have. And like I said, like I think different opinions are great, but I'm just of the mindset of like, yeah, man, like the results do matter.
Yeah.
It is a process based game, but it's a results based business, and that's how it is. Sometimes you're going to crush a ball and you're going to be out, and sometimes you're going to hit a ball awful and it's going to be a hit, and you just got to create those opportunities. And I know that the game did shift there for a little bit, where it was more three true outcomey, but it's not anymore. It's speed,
Yep.
being dynamic. That's back in a big way now, and we're built on that. So it's for me, it's lean into what you do well, which for us sometimes that's going to lead into us a pitcher throwing 75 pitches over 7 innings and having a good night because he struck out two and it was just one of those nights. It's also going to lead into some days where you score 10 in the first because you're rolling. So I think there's a mix of everything. You want to have a good mix of your lineup. You want to have guys that are aggressive. You want to have guys that are passive. You want to have guys that don't chase. You want to have guys that walk. You want to have guys that steal bases. Like, yeah, in a perfect lineup, your lineup is full of Bobbies. That's not a. But if your lineup was full of Bobbies, somebody would still critique it, saying he doesn't
Absolutely.
walk enough for something like that, right? So you can't do everything perfect, and you just have to go with what you got. You rely on the front office to bring in the right groups of guys, and our job in the clubhouse is to make that group work. So how Jack is going to hit is different than how I'm going to hit, even though we're both big lefties. We're different hitters. That's great. You should have that. Sal's going to hit different than Michael hits. They're very different. That's good. To show pitchers different looks, it's the same way you want a bullpen to have different arm slots. You want to show different looks all the time. Um, and I just am really excited because I think we have a great group of different styles of people and hitters, and I think it's gonna be awesome.
Last one for you. Fun one here. Jonathan India no longer has the long hair, and I think we'll talk with Jonathan tomorrow about this. But was there any method to the madness here? Because his entire career he's had this long hair going on, and now he's barely recognizable out there. So has he said why he cut the hair, or what's up with that?
No, I think you could probably speculate. I don't think John was very happy with his year last year, and I think he kind of wanted to start this year, maybe not fresh, but in a new look.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's not. Maybe he just wanted to. You never know. But I think he looks great, and physically he looks awesome. So I think he's in a really good spot. Physically, mechanically, with the swing, everything looks great, and maybe it's the hair. So maybe we'll see a brand new John India this year.
Vinny, appreciate your time, and good luck this
Yeah,
spring.
thank you.